Hello everyone and welcome. It's Shanna. So glad you're here today. Now we have got a fun set. This is the Rosies Studio Breakfast in Bed collection. And what I've got here is the designer papers. There are 40 sheets of 20 designs, so you get two of each. It's 6 by 6, and you've also got 6 foiled pages that are included in here. And we've got some really fun. Here's some foiled, some of the foiling here. And then these are some cute dogs here, so cute. And then we've got flowers and just all kinds of patterns, butterflies, stripes, and it's just a really fun paper pack. We've even got like a crossword puzzle page in there, super fun. So 40 sheets, 20 designs. And that is that. And then also in the Breakfast in Bed collection, I've got the chipboard embellishments. And there are 2 sheets, and you've got sentiments and all kinds of chipboard pieces and tags. And we've got, big sentiment. And then we also have the die-cut cardstock sentiments, and that's this pack here. And you can see you've got lots of sentiments and tags and different shapes that are included in there. And just lots to work with. So super, super fun. Lots of pieces. And then the next piece we've got is the Breakfast in Bed die-cut cardstock ephemera. There are 128 pieces in this, and it's just all kinds of fun elements that coordinate very nicely with the paper pack. We've got florals and coffee cups and breakfast foods and just all kinds of fun stuff. There's a toaster and then next we have got the Rosies Studio Breakfast in Bed chipboard frames and corners. And that is super fun. There's 35 pieces in this, and you've got some corner pieces. I'm going to point those out. You've got some floral ones and lots of layers. Very, very fun. And then also I've got the sticker book, and there are 6 sheets of paper and washi stickers in here. There's over 220 stickers in this sticker set. So very fun. This is a coordinated set. You see we've got butterflies, and we've got the dog again. Lots of flowers and stickers and tags and washi tape pieces and banners and just lots and lots of fun stuff. Now we are going to make 3 cards on today's video, but I'm just barely going to scratch the surface. There's like a larger border of like a washi tape, and then lots of different sentiments and stickers that you can use. Very fun collection. This just released at Spellbinders. And I've just taken and picked out some pattern paper and laid some ephemera. I've got basically enough stuff to make 3 cards. We're going to start with the first one. And this was the first piece of pattern paper that really jumped off to me, and it was the butterfly pattern paper. And I just really liked it, and I thought, it just spoke to me. And I thought, I'm going to work with that right off the bat. So it was the first design that I put together. And we're just going to bring in our paper trimmer, and we're going to cut it down and just begin layering some of these pieces on here. I'm going to do 3 3/4 by 5 so that we'll have a nice little frame around there. And then we're just going to layer up some of our pieces and just create a scene. This is super simple card making. You've got all of the elements that you need. You don't really need to do any die cutting or anything like that. If you've got a paper trimmer, you can trim it down and create some panels and then just start layering stuff up. I think I bring a couple, I think I use a die set on a couple pieces here, and I'll point that out to you, but it's not necessary because with all of the pieces and the ephemera and everything, you can make do with that. So I've chosen this frame here, this oval frame, and it was layered, and I've got 2 of the layering pieces here. There's like a green on the outside and a pink on the inside, and I'm just pulling the sticker backing off. And this is where I brought in a die-cut oval, just because I wanted to have something behind that frame, and so I just die-cut it out. You could rough out, just cut one out with some scissors. You wouldn't necessarily need a die for it, and just put it behind your oval. I just did that because I wanted to break up the pattern paper because I knew I was going to lay some florals and some other elements on here, and I just thought I'd like to have some white behind it. So I've got some of the ephemera pieces, I've got some florals and the leaves, and I'm bringing in the butterfly just to kind of tie back into that pattern paper that I've chosen to use, and I'm just going to get them laid down on here on my card base. I am going to bring in some foam tape and pop up our florals, and then we'll just add some of the rest of our elements to it. So I'm just going to get that positioned, and then I've got my little butterfly, and I'm just going to stick it on there, just put some glue on there and get it laid down. And then we have a sentiment. So you can see how quickly with this set you can just very quickly create some fast cards and have a lot of interesting looking elements on them. So I'm just going to lay that sentiment down. That's going to finish off our first card. Came together very quickly. So now I've got the elements for a second card. I was drawn to the stripe pattern paper and then the coffee cups, and I brought in some other pieces. We've got a sentiment, a coffee cup, kind of a half, like a sunbeam, and then we've got a kind of a checklist that was included with the stuff. So I'm just going to bring in my card base and we're going to start building this second card. Now for this one, excuse me, I was thinking the green would look nice on the bottom layer. And so I'm just going to trim this down. I'm going to trim it down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, just A2 size, and we'll get it laid down on our card base. And so we'll just glue it up. And honestly, you wouldn't even have to have any foam tape. You could just use glue, a paper trimmer, and then the elements that are included in the kit. You would need some card bases, and I make my own. I just use 8 1/2 by 11, cut it in half and then score it and make my own card bases. Now for this, I think I take this down to 2 3/4 by 5 1/2. Actually, I think I just trim the bottom part after I lay it down on there. I want to show some of that green and then lay the coffee cups down on there. And so we'll just get them lined up, glued down, and we'll just trim it off the bottom of our card. And we've got just a couple of fun pieces of pattern paper on here. I'm going to take a minute and get it lined up better. I didn't do a very good job with that. And then we'll just trim it off if I can get it on there straight. And now we've just got a couple of our pattern paper elements on there. And I really wanted to kind of show that green and also our coffee cup. So I grabbed a coffee cup ephemera. This is like a checklist. There's like where you write and you would check it off, like a to-do list that's in the pink with the gold foil around it. And I'm going to use it to create a landing zone for my coffee cup. I'm going to bring in some of the ephemera. I've got a little floral piece, and I thought that'd be fun to set on my coffee cup. And then I've got my my sunbeam there. I'm going to angle that on my card base, and we're going to lay this down, and it's just going to put some of the yellow, it's going to bring some of the yellow in. We've got yellow coffee cups on that pattern paper, and I just wanted to bring that in and tie it back in. And then there is a wonderful sentiment that goes with the coffee cup. You are my cup of tea. And then there are some stacked coffee cups, and I thought those would be super cute on the inside of our card. Excuse me. And so we'll get them laid down on there and just have some fun interest on the inside of our card with the coffee cups. And then I saw a little banner that says, "You make such a difference in my life." And I thought I love that sentiment on there. And I thought it would tie nicely in with, you are my cup of tea. And then just to add that you make such a difference in my life to it. And then to bring in some more of that gold with the Spellbinders metallic thread. And I'm having a heck of a time getting it threaded here. And I left that in so you can see the struggle is real. And I really made it too short, and so I was going to tie it in a bow, and I couldn't. And then I kind of go off camera and just tie another knot in it just so that it won't come undone. And then we'll get it laid down on there. So I'm really just kind of struggling with it. But I just thought this would be a nice addition, and I could use one more piece of my ephemera. It seems like sometimes the simplest things can be a struggle, but we did get that laid down on there, and we're just going to add some glue, and we're just going to tuck it. And so we've got just several pieces of ephemera laid on here, and I think that's fun. You've got a ton of it with the different packs, so there's a lot that you can work with. Now, I tried to kind of keep my color scheme all the same and chose coordinating papers for all 3 cards so that it would blend nicely. And I love these big, I don't know if these are dahlias or what they are. They're just big, beautiful blooms. They kind of remind me of dahlias. I might be wrong, but anyway. So I'm just going to cut this one down to, A2 size panel, and we're just going to lay it down on our card base. And look at those flowers. Just gorgeous pattern paper. Now, I wanted to use this, I don't know, it looks like an old, almost like a vegetable can or an old tin can of some sort that they've got florals in. And I wanted to use it because I thought it kind of matched the flowers. but I needed to have like a landing zone so it wouldn't be quite so busy. And so I'm going to use the pink pattern paper for that. And then this is where I bring that same die in, and I just die cut out an oval piece just to create the landing zone for a little floral element and just kind of separate the pattern paper from the floral element that we're going to lay on there. And then once I got that laid down, then I decided that I was going to need another layer. And so I went ahead and die cut out a vellum piece there, and we're just going to lay that down and just add some more interest. I'm going to bring in a couple more of those pieces from the frames, and this is a wood grain one. It actually is two. It's got like a cream colored on the outside of it and the wood grain, and I thought that was fun, and it would just add an extra interesting element, a little bit of dimension to it. And so I'm just going to lay my little can of florals on top of that and just have that wooden frame behind there just to add some interest. And I think it looks nice. It's kind of an extra little addition to it. And I just grabbed another floral element and thought I would just kind of fill in there. I don't know if I necessarily needed that piece or not, but I did bring it in, and then I also tucked some leaves in behind there just to kind of fill it in a little bit more. And then I went digging through my pieces parts, and I found a sentiment for the inside of it, and I thought I would just lay this down on the inside of it. And then I had some scraps of the paper that I used on the front, and I'm going to bring it in and lay it on the bottom of it as well. And then that will pretty much finish off this card. So you can see I made 3 quick cards. I think this video is just under 13 minutes, and they came together really quickly, and I think they turned out nice. So I hope you like them. If you do, consider hitting a like, and if you haven't subscribed, I'd love to have you subscribe. Thanks, and have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.